This might be a longer one, but buckle up because it's going to be worth it. Hi, my name is Kara, and welcome to Ghosted, a series where I draw portraits from the other side. I'm going to draw remotely and see if I can bring anything to the surface. And then I'll go here, and I'll physically sit my ass down, like on the grass. There's some benches behind this property. But for now, I want to tune into specifically the lighthouse and see if I can find a face. Alright, now I feel like I owe you an explanation. The picture that we were looking at is a place called the Grosse Lighthouse. And on this episode of Ghosted, we're gonna go through the process of 2 different readings that I hope to soon be able to offer on my website. The first reading is where I work remotely from only a photo of the place in question. This part of the portrait's so weird, but I want you to remember it. The second reading is where I physically go to the place in question. So here's the lighthouse, and do my reading on site. This is where I guess I figured I would kind of like hang out because there are these cute little benches right here. I started here like I start every reading. I set up a small altar and either I light a candle or I burn some incense to clear the space. And sometimes I completely zone out. Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened here. Sometimes ADHD just paralyzes you for a minute. But don't worry, I'm about to snap out of it. And here's where I started sketching. Just to offer some impressions, I kept picking up the vibe of like a weathered sailor, and I thought that that was a bias just because I was at a lighthouse. But instead of arguing with myself or brushing away those impressions, I just let it stick around. I filed it away under possibly nonsense but could come in handy. I drew 3 separate sketch portraits at the lighthouse, and somehow they all looked kind of similar. Here I'm starting the 3rd sketch, and again I got the eyes and then a very low section of shadow. Remember this one? Anyway, the plan was just to get some impressions and then take my sketchbook back home and see about doing a full portrait at my desk. I did end up going with the portrait that looked most like the weathered sailor, and based my final portrait off of that sketch. It started out similar, but as you can see in the sketch, he had a full beard and mustache. And for whatever reason, I just didn't think that the beard fit anymore. The mustache? Yeah, totally. But not the beard, and I'm not sure why, but I'm glad that I made that choice. I also noticed that the vast majority of the sketches didn't have hair, so I thought maybe he was wearing a hat. It felt like the kind of slouchy newsboy hat, and by the time I'd drawn the bill, it definitely felt right, so I just went with it. I added some highlights and deepened the darkest shadows, and this is what I ended up with. I can admit when I'm wrong. This was definitely not a slouchy newsboy hat. Meet Principal Keeper Edwin J. Moore, who worked at the Grosse Lighthouse from 1888 to 1924. I tried finding a photo of him as he was younger, but I didn't have much luck, so I'm relying on the fact that he's wearing a hat and he has a mustache paired with overall bone structure. I feel confident that I was able to hang out with Edwin for a little while today, and honestly, I might go back tomorrow to do more.